Let me be clear. I'm not going to say this ship was trash, but it wasn't great. Hello, I am Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends. Today I've got a pretty short battle for you featuring the Tier 6 Tech Tree Japanese battleship Nagato, which, along with many other ships in this September 2021 update, received a buff. What did the buff on the Nagato do? Well, according to the patch notes, it increased the maximum speed to 26 knots. It increased the shell grouping by 2.5%. And then finally, it decreased the rudder shift time for both hulls. And if you have the upgraded hull, then the rudder shift time is 12.9 seconds at base, which is an incredibly good rudder shift for a battleship. And all that has added up to making the Nagato a much more accurate ship. Well, maybe not a much more accurate ship, but a noticeably more accurate ship than it was prior to this. And by the way, the last time it received a buff, the buff was in the form of access to the concealment module, which I am running in this game. And in addition to the concealment module, I'm pretty sure I have Kondo and Swirsky as inspirations for Tanaka, or Takagi rather, on this build, which means my detectability by sea on this Nagato, with, again, concealment mod, rank 15 Kondo, and rank 14 Swirsky as inspirations, is 11.7 kilometers by sea. So not only is this a slightly faster, slightly more agile, and slightly more accurate battleship, but along with the previous buff that saw it get access to the concealment mod, this is also, I think, the stealthiest battleship in the game. If you can see right now, before I fire my guns, my concealment is 11.7 kilometers. That is stealthier than some cruisers in this game. I think the Russian cruisers would be envious of this kind of sea detectability. So, extremely stealthy battleship, pretty accurate, turns better, and is a little bit faster than it was before. So is it a good ship? Well, frankly, I still don't think it's the strongest Tier 6 battleship. I don't think it's going to be winning any awards, not with competition like the North Carolina and the Sinop. But certainly there's something to be said about this honestly ridiculous stealth. And it does have, as you can see, fairly accurate 16-inch guns that can hit hard. Of course, the reason this game is short, well, the downside of the Nagato has not and never probably will be addressed, but it's the same downside that every Tier 6 battleship, honestly, in this game has, and we'll get to it when we get to it. For now, we've taken up a centralized position in the map, and we're trying to dissuade this Alabama and Kutuzov from taking the Bravo cap. No team right now in this battle at this point have control of any caps, and hopefully this is going to be the killing blow on the Alabama. And no, of course not. It just penetrates him 3 times, does no damage, and destroys one of his turrets before one of our teammates finally secures the kill there. So that makes perfect sense, and I totally expected that to happen. Nothing strange about that at all. Kutuzov trying to sneak back behind that island. Looks like his smoke screen has run out, and he's found himself exposed to the 16-inch guns of a battleship he didn't even know was there. Well, he might have known I was there, but he couldn't see me. Shots are coming down on his hull now. They take away about 11,000 of his hit points, so he's hurting. Definitely not going to want to repeat the same move there anytime soon. And it looks like we can push up a little bit more back toward this Bravo cap. But clearly something besides the Alabama was in there because it's still turning red. I think it's one of the enemy cruisers and probably not the enemy destroyer. Trying to see if I can line up a shot on this Nagato over the island there. And the results are... Yes. In fact, a very good shot. 1 Citadel, 1 Penetration, and 2 Overpens, taking our damage total up to 49,000. And the culprit capping the Bravo cap has been revealed. It's another cruiser. Not quite sure what it is. We're not really looking at him yet, but we will be. Oh, it's the Kutuzov. Strange. I thought there was something else here. Maybe there's double Kutuzov. Maybe there's two. This guy looks like he's coming around the corner, so I'm getting the guns ready to go. He sees me. He says, nope, I gotta turn the other way, but I think it may be a little bit too late for that, Captain. Yes, in fact, we take away pretty much all of his remaining hit points, giving broadside to the enemy Nagato out there, something I would say is inadvisable, especially now. But if we can turn in, tighten up the angle, we should be losing spot here any second, and of course we do. So we can push up toward this cap just a little bit more. We don't really want to get spotted again, because if we are, then we're going to be the focus of a good deal of high explosive spam. In fact, some high explosive spam hits us there from maybe a Cleveland. I'm not honestly sure what it was, and it lights us on fire. Of course, when you are lit on fire like this in lower concealment ships, well, then the fire makes your detectability bloom out further, which is why we got spotted there. Luckily, our Cleveland teammate takes out that Kutuzov inside of the Bravo cap. Somehow our shells managed to not kill him, which frankly was a little bit of a bizarre happening. But now we're coming up on the sequence where the main issue with the Nagato is going to be on full display, and that is it's not a very heavily armored ship. In fact, I think it's coated in 26mm plating pretty much everywhere except along the belt armor, which is, of course, thick enough to ricochet shells from large battleship caliber guns, but everywhere else, pretty much 26mm can be overmatched by 16-inch guns, which means it can be incredibly difficult to angle against enemy battleships at close ranges, as this Nagato is going to find out. And, of course, he hits me pretty hard there in return. But he's fired all his guns. We've only fired two of ours. We can swing around, get the back two in, and then immediately start tightening up the angle once more as we hit him quite hard there. This is not a situation where you ever really want to find yourself in the Nagato, of course, because, you know, like I said, it's not very heavily armored. And if this were just a 1-versus-1 fight, well, I think I'd probably be coming out on top, because even if this guy can overmatch significant parts of my armor scheme, at least I'm better angled to him than he is to me. And hopefully we're going to be able to take him out here. In fact, we do, but it was never a 1-versus-1. We've had this Cleveland on our broadside the whole time, and frankly, the Cleveland, well, difficult ship, scary ship, frankly, there's no surviving that. However, I think we did a respectable amount of damage this game, and I think this sort of shows off the advantages of the Nagato as well as the disadvantages. Unfortunately, I didn't get the results screen, so we'll never know how I actually did. But there's a brief look at the Nagato for you. Some of you guys were asking for it, so I figured I'd oblige. Certainly a better ship after the buff. A great ship? Probably not. But less taxing to play, I would say. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.